Hello, I'm Leonard Engelman. I am a makeup artist and hairstylist branch governor. It's my honor to be your host, and on behalf of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and the Makeup Artists and Hairstylist branch, to welcome you to the 87th Academy Awards event and the 33rd Oscar nomination for makeup and hairstyling. We have a number of guests, and the first guest I'm very honored to introduce you to is the Los Angeles Mayor, Eric Garcetti. Please welcome Mayor Garcetti.
Thank you, Leonard. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Leonard, and a very good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for being here, members of the Academy, distinguished guests and friends, fellow Angelinos. Good afternoon and welcome to Oscar weekend in Los Angeles. We are so excited this weekend when the world's eyes turn to Los Angeles. But they don't just do that on one weekend because of these awards. They turn here all the time because of what we create here in this great town. And I'm so proud that Los Angeles is the creative crossroads of the world, the entertainment capital not just of the United States, but of this globe. And that the Academy Awards will again focus the world's eyes on what we do and what we have done. Today, I'm really honored to be here among you, some of our entertainment industry's best and brightest, and to make it clear, that it isn't just about those faces that we will see on the red carpet, but it's those folks that are below the line who bring the magic to those faces that we see, to their hair, to their faces. And to be clear, I had nobody from the Academy do my makeup today, so my apologies for doing it myself. But I want to congratulate the nominees. It's an extraordinary road that you have taken to be here, to be recognized by your peers. I know it's a cliche that we thank all the nominees, but before there is a single winner picked out, all three of you, all three of the nominees, really represent the most extraordinary creativity and focus. Let's give our nominees a round of applause and congratulate them for what they have done. I also want to give a special welcome to some special guests that are here from Los Angeles Unified School District, Hollywood High School to be exact. Are there some sheiks in the house? Make some noise, sheiks. I was so proud to be your council member for 12 years, now to be your mayor. Hollywood High School is literally right there in the best location, the best real estate in the world. When it comes to Hollywood, it isn't just an industry, it is a place. And those two have become more unified together. And I really appreciate that the Academy brings our future entertainment workers, and that's what we see you guys as being the magic makers of tomorrow, into the magic of this weekend as well. And as mayor, and even though I'm a SAG-AFTRA member myself, I understand that the lifeblood of the industry is actually the folks not on the silver screen, but the folks behind it. It's the people who build the sets, it's the people who light them, it's the people who drive the trucks, those below-the-line, hard-working people who are the true backbone of our film industry and of LA's middle class. You define who we are as a city. You attract tourists to come here. You help fuel other creative industries. And it's why I'm so committed to making sure that the film industry continues to stay and grow here in Los Angeles. The recession that we've just emerged from hurt us all, and powerful incentives from out of state and out of the country mean that too often, if there is work, it's not here in Los Angeles. That has divided families, it's helped weaken our main streets and our economies. But I heard loud and clear from you, those folks who do this work, members of Local 706, for instance, and others below the line, brothers and sisters who said, do something, Mr. Mayor. And last year we made it the highest priority at the state level to bring a robust package of tax incentives back to California. And against a lot of skepticism, even cynicism in Sacramento, we got and we thank the governor for signing the tax package we put forward that will bring $6 billion of production over the next 5 years back to California. And today I'm here because I want to share with you the next phase of our strategy and our campaign to continue to make Los Angeles the only place that you want to film. My agenda to reverse runaway production, to build up our entertainment industry, to strengthen the middle class. Today we are launching Greenlight Hollywood, our new campaign to highlight why Los Angeles is the best place with the most talented people, with the most compressed creativity anywhere on the face of the world, and to understand all of the incentives that we will offer for filming here in Los Angeles. My film office, which I established for the first time in City Hall, led by the legendary entertainment attorney Ken Zifrin and his deputy Rajiv Dalal, will help lead a volunteer group of labor, production, and marketing executives to meet with studio executives, with packaging agents, financiers, and managers to detail the provisions of the new tax credit program and discuss how much more beneficial it is, both creatively and financially, to be here in LA. But this campaign will also recruit and deploy a core of entertainment professionals, and please join us if you'd like to be a part of that, to identify film and TV productions in the planning stages that would be most beneficial to LA's economy if produced here. These Greenlight Hollywood representatives would then contact productions through studio Greenlight committees and make the case for filming in LA just at those moments when people are making those critical decisions. In Los Angeles, we have a whole host of incentives, whether it's in television, making it free to film a pilot here, waiving those fees, coordinating now between city departments to make it much more seamless between our fire department and our rec and parks and our transportation departments to make filming easy here. But we understand that our filming industry is essential, not just to today's reputation, but to tomorrow's future here in LA and making sure that LA remains the entertainment capital of the world. It's simple. We're going to knock on the door of every decision maker here in Hollywood, and I want you to help put them to work in LA. So thank you again for what you do. I always say that LA and California, we didn't have to have the deepest tax incentive because we have the best talent. We need to be more competitive, but our secret weapon is you, the most talented, committed magic makers anywhere in the world. I know you're going to see a taste of that today, and we'll certainly see it highlighted again tomorrow night. But thank you for what you do, and let's make sure this truly is a city of dreams once again. Thanks.
It's my honor to be here and to introduce you to some great nominees. Oscar Week, Makeup Artists and Hairstylists Symposium can now be seen on our website at oscars.org, so we welcome viewers, hopefully, around the world. The nominated films this year are wonderful examples of the very vast range that is the art of makeup and the vast range of the selection process within the makeup artist and hairstylist branch. Our first film, The Grand Budapest Hotel, is recognized for makeup and hairstyling for the film in its entirety. Our second film, Guardians of the Galaxy, is also recognized for makeup and hairstyling for the entire film. Our third film, Foxcatcher, is recognized for makeup for the characters of John DuPont, Mark Schultz, and David Schultz. So we have The Grand Budapest Hotel, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Foxcatcher. Now we have a number of people in the audience I would like to recognize, and I would like to introduce another governor for the makeup artist and hairstylist branch, and that's Bill Corso. If we could just bring our lights up a bit. And we have a number of Oscar nominees and recipients. As I call your name, would you please stand and remain standing until we get to the last name, please. We have V. Neal, Bill Corso, Mike Elizalde, Ed French, Trevor Proud, Deborah Lamia Deniver, Howard Berger, Christina Smith, Tammy Lane, Martin Samuel, Mark Coulier, and Robin Matthews. Thank you very much. I would like to recognize from the Makeup Artists and Hairstylist Branch, Local 706, President Sue Cabral Ebert, Business Representative Tommy Cole, and Assistant Business Representative Randy Sayer. And I especially would like to thank the Academy's group, Mary Rose McMahon and her team for all the work that goes into making this such a successful event. This is a wonderful time for the 6 nominees to bask in their accomplishments and recognition. Some of you in the audience may have contributed these films and should be sharing in the glory. So audiences, enjoy this time, applaud, make noise, celebrate with the nominees, because that's what this is all about. Let's start right now. Today is a celebration of winners. Every nominee that steps on this stage is a winner. Every nominee tomorrow is a winner. One film group will carry statues, but every nominee is a winner. The reason the Academy gives Academy Awards is to honor and celebrate the art and science of motion pictures. It's why the Academy exists. The Oscar exists because the founders believed that movies were not just business and that people needed to be reminded of that. The Oscar exists to tell the world that filmmaking is an art, and it's being practiced by some people at a very high level. And some of those people are in this room today. Before we hear from our Oscar nominees, I'd like to explain the process that brought us to today. In April, October, November, the makeup artists and hairstylist executive branch and the membership meet. And as part of the business, they discuss a list of films that have been released during the previous months. These are films these members feel should be seen for makeup and hairstyling. The list is then sent to all branch members so that they can be aware of them. Therefore, the films can be continually recommended or possibly not. In December, all branch members were asked to attend a meeting to vote for the 7 films that will go on for consideration for nomination. These are selected as the 7 best films for achievement in makeup and hairstyling for the year. I always like to point out how unbiased these selections are as I read the names of the 7 films and the members in attendance chose. We have, of these 7, we had The Amazing Spider-Man 2, shot in New York. Foxcatcher, shot in Pennsylvania. The Grand Budapest Hotel, shot in Germany and Poland. Guardians of the Galaxy, shot a little bit in California, but almost completely in England. Maleficent, shot in England. The Theory of Everything, shot in England. And Noah, shot in Iceland. Noah wanted to shoot in England, but all of the really good locations were already taken. You can see 7 great accomplishments in the artistry of makeup and hairstyling. Of 16 possible nominees, 11 were not Academy members or IATSE Local 706 members. Of 16 possible nominees, 4 have Oscars. Of 7 films selected, 3 films have no Academy members. The selections of these films and their possible nominees is complex, for we recognize the specific makeup and hairstyling achievement in a film. In some cases, this may be the film in its entirety for makeup, or for hairstyling, or for both makeup and hairstyling. Or it may be for a specific character or characters for makeup, or makeup and hairstyling. And from that, we recognize the artist or artists most responsible for these achievements. Following the December meeting, the Makeup Artists and Hairstylists Executive Committee meets. This is probably the most difficult of all of the meetings because the committee now has to choose a maximum of 2 individuals, possibly 3, for those most responsible for the look that is being recognized in each film, or character and characters. So it doesn't matter what the ads may say. It doesn't matter how much was spent on advertising. It doesn't matter what someone's deal memo said. And it doesn't matter the film's credits. At that point, the executive committee has to make the decision based on input and the work that was done. In 1968, prior to there being a yearly Oscar for makeup, Planet of the Apes was going to receive a special Academy Award. There was to be one statue. That award, as was the process of the time, was to go to the makeup department head for 20th Century Fox. That was Dan Strepek. Dan said the person most responsible for this achievement is John Chambers, and he must receive the Oscar. It is that standard of honesty and responsibility that we follow today as the committee painstakingly chooses the individuals most responsible for what has been recognized in each film. Then in January, all members met and were asked to attend a presentation by the makeup artists and hairstylists recognized for the 7 films. This is often referred to as the bake-off. This is when the final nominations were chosen for the Academy Award for Makeup and Hairstyling for 2014. As you can see, the Makeup Artists and Hairstylists Academy members spend a great amount of time, very unselfish time, in an effort to applaud the work of others. Today, you're actually going to see how that process takes place. I'm going to ask each of the nominees to talk about some of the work on their film that you're going to see and what you'll see in the film clips. We'll then show the 10-minute clips so you can see the wonderful work. After the third clip has been seen, we will open the floor for questions of the nominees, followed by an opportunity to join the nominees and see displays representing their films downstairs in the lobby. You will love that. Now, let's meet our nominees. Our first nominated film is Grand Budapest Hotel. Please welcome Frances Hannon. Frances, please come up and take a seat. Frances is credited as hair, makeup, and prosthetic designer. This is the first Oscar nomination for Frances. Frances is presently filming Now You See Me Too with Woody Harrelson, Mark Ruffalo, and Morgan Freeman. Shortly, she will be working on a Ron Howard film, Inferno, starring Tom Hanks. And please welcome Mark Coulier. Mark is credited for prosthetics. This is the second Oscar nomination for Mark. He has won 1 Oscar for The Iron Lady. Mark is presently involved with the James Bond movie, Spectra, and Zoolander 2. The Grand Budapest Hotel won the BAFTA Award for Makeup and Hairstyling 2 weeks ago. And last week at the Makeup Artists and Hairstylists Guild Awards, Frances received the Best Period and/or Character Makeup Award and the Best Period and/or Character Hairstyling Award for the Grand Budapest Hotel. And Frances, I believe that you have a special guest here today. Possibly not.
Hello. I have Tony here. He belongs to the makeup department and he's very kindly come along today to join us. Tony Revelori, he played Zero in the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Now, I have been wanting to ask this question because I think it's just such a great part of the film. Why do you want to be a lobby boy?
Well, who wouldn't? At the Grand Budapest, sir. It's an
I
institution.
love that line. There are so many great characters in this film, and we're going to take a look at a lot of them. But you were so unique with the changes that took place and everything. And a lot of those changes were sort of almost based on a mustache to a certain degree. You know, sometimes there was a mustache, sometimes there wasn't. Sometimes the mustache, as you got older, the mustache became larger. And, you know, I thought it was just a great look. We're going to take a look here at a little bit of that. Okay. And you can see here some of them. I want to go forward one here. This was such a great, unique character. Now, was this mustache described in the script?
No, I don't recall the mustache being in the script at all. Do you, Tony?
No, it was not. It was, if I recall correctly, I remember I went to Germany to meet with Wes for the first time, and you as well. And I believe that's when he first told me about it. I don't know when he told you about it, but that's when he first told me.
We discussed it. It was sort of based on the fact that he wanted to emulate Gustav. So he started...
And the fact that I couldn't grow one.
Yeah. So he penciled it on, which Tony had to do by himself most times. As you can see in the photo, he nearly got it in his nose rather than above his lip. But he had to do that as direct-to-camera, no mirror, so I think he did very well. But as he progressed in character, he grew his own moustache, which we stuck on.
Yeah, that was fun, and it's actually really funny that when you watch the film, different, like you said, there's different portrayals of the mustache. He always has it on when he's with Mr. Gustav, and whenever he's with Agatha alone, Saoirse Ronan, he doesn't have the mustache, which is like something very, very beautiful to the film, and we played on and was fantastic.
Well, it was interesting too because as I look back, it seems to me you're in almost every shot, in almost every sequence, a great part of it. So, you know, for something that started off maybe small, I think that became huge for you, you know.
Yeah, without a doubt. It was fantastic. I mean, working with all these people, many of which have worked with Wes a lot on previous films. You did Rushmore, I believe, yeah. And so it's difficult to come in as a new guy, but everyone there is so nice and gentle that they just help you feel comfortable, and you don't really feel any pressure later on. Great.
I'm going to go back to what we saw just a moment ago, because the Ralph Fiennes as Mr. Gustav was such a great character and always so perfectly done. I mean, even in prison, even when he was beat up, he was almost perfectly done. Yeah. You know, what was all involved in his character as far as the makeup and hairstyling?
He was one of the most difficult to find exactly in the very early prep days because Gustav could have looked like so many different things. But once Rafe, and we both know he is a meticulous artist, we decided that he should have a blonde toned wig, which was fairly full. It was only missing a little bit of the nape. That was his own hair. And he grew his own moustache. But he loved blonde women, and so Wes wanted him to have a blonde tinge himself. So every day Rafe was wigged, foundation, eyebrows, mascara, blusher. It was the full works. He was based on really a 1930s Hollywood star, but in a very subtle way.
Okay, great. Let's move on here. Obviously, one of the centerpieces of the film is Madame D, played by Tilda Swinton. Now, how did this wonderful character come about? This was a combination with you, Mark, and with you, Francis, and some beautiful, beautiful work.
Well, Wes cast Tilda after he lost the lead lady, who was an older lady, and he called to ask did I think we could make her 83, even though she was only 50, and it sit very well into the film and not stand out as a caricature. So I called Mark, who's worked with me before and made beautiful, fine pieces. And between us, we designed her overall look, many pieces, a very high, plumpy, pompous wig that balanced the prosthetics makeup, and then her beautiful costume. And I think her overall look, her teeth and her contact lenses set very well into the film. Do you want to?
Yeah, that's right. And the first I heard of it, Francis gave me a call and said, would I be interested in working on a Wes Anderson movie, and particularly aging Tilda Swinton to being 83, which was just amazing. You know, we were like in the crew, just going around to the crew saying, "Oh, do you guys fancy aging up Tilda Swinton?" And it was like, absolutely, it's such a dream job. Anyone who's a makeup artist knows that working on someone with a great bun structure and a really fine look is the perfect person to age. The hollow cheeks, it was just perfect. And Tilda's such a lovely, creative person as well. It was a real pleasure, a real joy to work on her. And then we did all sorts of things. There's a picture there of the old edge stipple around the eyes. We actually got a similar. We didn't have access to Tilda at all, so we got a similar lady with a similar look in, and I got her into the workshop, and we did various tests on various old edge stipple makeups around the eyes. We really didn't want to put prosthetics under her eyes, wanted to use all that natural aging. It's such a great technique, the old edge stipple, on certain skins, and if somebody's over 50, it works particularly well. So I really wanted to avoid prosthetics around the eyes, so we kept the piece really low under her cheekbone. Tilda's got really wide cheekbones, so we also didn't want to add any material to the outside of her cheekbones to create that sallow look. I should really credit Duncan Jarman and Stephen Murphy here as well, who really did an enormous amount of work on this makeup, and Josh Weston, who sculpted the hands for it. We did hand prosthetics, which are on display out the back, and then in combo with Fran's lovely, beautiful wig and then the makeup, we basically stuck the prosthetics on and painted everything into her skin. And Wes saw it and wanted loads of liver spots, and then Fran and was it Julie Dartnell and did the straight makeup and the lipstick and eyeshadow, and the whole thing just really came together. And once she emerged with Milena's beautiful, sumptuous costume on, it was a real striking character. She had heels on. The wig was really high, so I don't think she was about 7 foot tall or something by the time we finished. I was towering underneath her. And one interesting thing that happened was Jeff Goldblum was there, and he's had loads of prosthetics on, he's undergone the whole process as the Fly, and he went over and he was just really amazed. But, because the new materials, the silicone works really well, looks really like real skin, so he was really, it was a nice moment for him to come over and really compliment us on the makeup.
And how many pieces did you have on her?
We had 11 pieces in total. We had two hands, cheeks, a little chin piece, neck, 2 little nose pieces on the side of the nose. We didn't want to change her nose particularly, but there's a textural thing of, you just want to create a little bit of texture in there. So we did 2 little tiny pieces here, forehead piece, which was out of a flat mold, and earlobes, the sort of long dangly earlobes, which we exaggerated really quite a lot. And
then the wig, I understand the wig was not just a wig. There were several pieces to the wig.
We made the wig out of 5 pieces because we wanted the height, but we didn't want the bulk all around the rest of it. So I built it up. I had it made of 20-inch length hair, and then added 2 more pieces on the top, and then 2 that are called phalanges at the back of the nape of the neck, which made Tilda's head look even longer than it was. And I think it worked very well.
Oh. Do you agree? Here we have a shot of Tilda in the process. And then let's take a look at this poster, because it shows so many great characters. Harvey Keitel, one of the great characters that are in there. What were all the different processes you had on Harvey?
I had him head cast in America because we had no access to Harvey, which was sent to Mark. So we only got Harvey, I think, 2 days prior to the shoot, which was a very short time. Mark made the ball cap. We'd done all the tattoos. We didn't know where we'd place them or how they'd look or if they'd work. I made him some teeth. He didn't have contact lenses. He didn't want them. I made him some plumpers for his nose to make it look slightly broken. Mark made him a nose too. And he had to sit there naked from the waist up. I'll never know why, but it was Wes's choice.
Yeah, and we did his bald cap, which is the two most difficult makeups as far as I'm concerned are bald caps and old age makeups that we do as prosthetic makeup artists. So it was quite a nice challenge, to get both of those in one movie. And I've done a few silicone bald caps before, but it was a really nice one to do on Harvey. He was great. He really loves the process. He's a real pro, ex-Marine. So me and Duncan Jarman stuck it on, and Duncan and him just talked about SS daggers and all sorts of weird things that they collect, and because they're both collectors of weaponry and stuff. So he was great fun. It was a really, really tricky makeup to do, but it was good fun.
One of the characters that I really liked also was Adrian Brody, and I didn't realize it actually until I was listening to the reel that you had put together, that as we look at Adrian, wherever he is here, we see a very high hairstyle. And I understand that was to relate more to the look of his mother.
Yes, it was. It was sort of that when they had time together, he sort of tried to emulate his mother, though he obviously didn't like her very much, I don't think. But he was based on an artist called Egon Schiele from the period, and we kept it along the same lines. I mean, obviously not the waves, but the exact precision of the moustache and a slightly gothic makeup to tie in with his sisters. But he balanced Madame D out very well, I think, in stature and in body size, actually. Yeah.
Well, and also William Dafoe. Oh. A great sort of subtle look, but sort of a bulldog look.
Yeah. I made a selection of teeth. You'll see them on the display because we didn't get Willem in advance. We didn't really know where we would go with his character. So I made some bulldog teeth, as you see, and we made them for the top and the bottom, but we found when we actually fitted him the day prior to his shoot that only the bottom ones really made the huge difference to his mouth and made him very different. So he came with long hair down to his shoulders. We cut it all off very badly for the film to a very short crop. And we scarred him as well. He had a pro bondo scar from his head down to his eyebrow. And Wes's brief was that he wanted him to look as rough as Willem could, again with the gothic look, because Adrian Brody was his master.
Very good. Well, when we see the film clips here, you're going to see with Tony, the looks in the beginning. You're going to see the looks towards the end with what looks like a lot longer hair and mustache and all. And I think you're going to enjoy this. Tony, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And we're going to ask the nominees to take their seats. Please welcome for Guardians of the Galaxy, Lizzie Yianni-Georgiou. Lizzie is credited as the makeup and hair designer. This is the first Oscar nomination for Lizzie. Last Saturday at the Makeup Artists and Hairstylists Guild Awards, Lizzie received the Best Contemporary Makeup Award. Lizzie is branching into new areas with possible skincare line and is possibly co-producing a script. And please welcome David White. David is credited as a special makeup effects designer. This is the first Oscar nomination for David. And last Saturday at the Makeup Artists and Hairstylists Guild Award, David received the Best Special Makeup Effects Award. David is presently involved in The Huntsman and Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Now, Lizzie, I believe that you have a special guest also.
Yes, we do have. We've got the wonderful Michael Rooker, who plays Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Welcome, Michael.
Thank you.
For being here. There's a huge number of characters with tremendous changes from facial hair and body structure to vibrant comic book colors. So let's take a look first at Michael's character here. Michael, would you describe the look of this character and how this took place?
I was asleep most of the time. The makeup took about 4.5 hours. We started with the prosthetic head piece. Actually, I've had my hair cropped since the movie.
Yeah.
We used to have a wonderful little red mohawk that we dyed red because as we were developing the character, we didn't know whether we would want a red mohawk in hair, but David had our ideas.
Yeah. So
I don't know where that piece went.
No.
Shh.
But the strangest thing is I had to hollow out the actual prosthetic piece to accommodate your very own.
I had a mohawk.
Yeah.
I had my hair cut. Actually, I did it myself, and I went over to London, and I wanted it to be a surprise for James Gunn. So we were to meet. And it was a little crooked. It wasn't that really good. So we were to meet and have dinner. And so his first look, I had the mohawk, and I was very proud of it. And I made it, I poofed it up a little bit. And he came in to join me for dinner. And the first remark was just a big, giant belly laugh. So it worked. I wanted it to be a joke. But it looked, I got used to it, so I kept it. And they accommodated it. They hollowed out the whole deal and made me very proud.
So in this picture, is this your hair or is it a piece?
You know what? This piece, it looks like it's growing out of my skull.
Yeah,
don't you think? Yeah.
It was designed that way, but it's actually like a polythene section, a semi-rigid section down the center there to get that real metal feel to it, with a silicone surround. And then the other prosthetics, we have 3 other prosthetics running down the right side of Michael's face there that are transfer silicone pieces.
And those were the little scarring pieces that we kept having a lot of fun with. Like every time we'd put them on, I was like, oh, does it go this way or this way?
And then Michael had the product that we developed for Guardians of the Galaxy in the different color blues. So that was layered on in 3 layers, airbrushed on. We developed it because when we were testing everything, we found that everything wasn't quite to sort of James Gunn's expectations and ours.
It wasn't vibrant enough, or what?
I think because James always used to come right up close to the actor and kind of say, look, I can still see that this is a human being. So, you know, we kind of tested so many different products, and in the end, I just knew that we had to make our own. We knew that we'd be shooting in the heat of the summer and big leather costumes, and we didn't want it to come off, and we knew we wouldn't have time to be really messing around with lots of makeup checks, because once these guys were on, they were on, and high-definition cameras, no specific lighting for the actors, everything was kind of lit for the movie.
You had no lighting for me.
Well, we didn't have special lighting.
I felt it was all for me.
Of course. Just for Michael, of course. That's when we decided to sort of make our own product. And like I said to a lot of other makeup artists, we kind of shared the secret. It's no longer a secret. It's got a gas permeable layer. That means that Michael did a very funny trick on the first day that I actually used it on him, because we tested it on our juniors and sort of other models before Michael came to the chair, and he was one of the first artists that we tested the makeup on, and we actually applied it in 4 layers and then painted on all the little blood vessels and sort of roughened him up a little bit and contoured him as well with different colours. And he told me he was going to the loo, but what he did do was run around the block about 3 times just to test our makeup. So when I went looking for him, the producers arrived and James Gunn arrived to come and have a look at this lovely look that we'd done for him. him, this guy was coming up the stairs completely perspiring and everything, and he kind of went, it works, you know, it really works. Look, it's not coming off. So that was the test. That was the big test for us.
Well, it was a big test for me because, you know, I don't want to be messed around with when I'm on set and doing stuff. And I was a little concerned that it was going to run or something like that. And so my test, my personal test, was go out and do a workout and to see if I could, you know, see if I could sweat through the makeup and have it not and have it stay put.
And it did. It did. You can perspire through the makeup, and so that made the skin look even more realistic.
Now, didn't you also have problems then with the adhesives? Because of this
yeah. Well, with Michael, we didn't have to use wig glues, but when we started to use it on other actors that were using the different colours, we found that the wig glues were breaking down the membrane of the product. So we then had to develop our own wig glue to, accommodate it, which was just another version of what we'd already done, but it was tweaked and made into a glue, which lasted all day long. It was brilliant. We had it on Gamora. We had it on quite a few of the other artists, so it is a wonderful glue.
Well, let's take a look at some of those artists. Here we've got Chris Pratt. Great look, and I think you made some changes on him, didn't you?
We did. When he kind of arrived with it, when I first saw pictures of Chris Pratt, my mind went into sort of overload. How are we going to make this guy look completely different to Parks and Recreations, and make him, like
you
a
added
hero?
pecs and deltoids,
we added
right?
him. Yeah, we made him Pecs and Recreations instead. Well, actually, he did that for himself as well, though, because he used to work out every morning. I mean, he worked really hard for this part, but we kind of chiseled his face and kind of got him to grow a little bit of facial hair and added to that as well, just to sort of make him look a bit more sort of out there. And I kind of wanted people to relate to him, so I kind of gave him the sort of the thicker hair and the kind of hairstyle that kind of made him look more hero-like. But he was tanned up as well. We did tan him up, and for those shots that you see up there now, we did help a little bit. But the guy worked hard at it, so we've got to give him that.
Yeah, and then it got a little bit more complex with Gamora, played by Zoe Saldana, and also Ronan, played by Lee Pace.
Definitely. Well, Gamora's face, all her pieces and everything were all done by David and his team.
Yeah, so we're looking at the silicone prosthetic forehead, silicone cheeks, little pieces here, mainly stuck on with telesis with a little bit of prosade in areas as well, so it's a combination. They're very, very thin pieces, but it just gives a lineage and direction, very symmetrical, with a kind of a biomechanical structure that was sculpted in there. So she's out there, but she's still, you can still relate to her. That was the idea. We tried lenses, in fact, didn't we? We had all sorts of things going on, and you needed to relate to her. So we took off the lenses and just went with the.
But that was the idea of giving her the funky hairstyle as well, the funky two-tone hair colour. Because I wanted sort of young people of today to kind of relate to her, so she kind of gave her a little edge, so that she didn't just jump out of a comic book. She kind of felt like somebody you might know. Mm-hmm. So it was cool.
Because that's the thing with the comic books. What you see in those comic books, it can be too extreme for a movie. It just doesn't quite relate. So we had to tone things down, and it's got to work on that massive scale. So it has to be really believable in that case.
Yeah. And then we've got Drax.
Yeah,
lot of work here.
A lot of work on Drax. I mean, when David was cast, what a fantastic physique he's got. There's no way that I wanted to start putting enormous quantities of prosthetic thickness on him. So I devised a way of using kind of flat molding it. And also you've got to remember that there's the colours and the layers that are needed within that makeup. So what I did was I devised a way of, we injected the layers in, which are 2 layers with the red and then the grey on top, and then that's applied to him in 18 pieces, and then the rest is all filled in. It's all telesis, locked down with telesis. So there we go. we also had this structure where we had like a two-piece case, which I devised, which we put on him, just to kind of give us a lineup of his entire map of the actual prosthetics themselves, so that kind of saves time. And we had it down to 2 hours, 47 minutes.
Wow.
Eventually.
And what was it to start with, though?
About 7. No. Only during the testing, obviously.
The testing,
yeah. I mean, because you have the luxury of time, and but then everybody kind of latches onto it and thinks that's how long it takes. It doesn't, and it got better and better. And we had a fantastic crew of 5 people running around David every morning. And David went into such an state. It was fantastic. He just relaxed, and he went through that.
But those tattoos also tell you the story of his life. That's
yeah,
what a lot of people don't realise.
Yeah, because if you look within every tattoo, there was a scene which isn't in the final movie, which does explain his entire life. So the keloid scarring actually explains, his wife and his child and everything else within that. So also that was another reason why I was keen to have it in so many sections, as well as that if there was a change within that story of any kind that came up during the script, I wouldn't have the time to create a brand new prosthetic in a 2 or 3 piece. So I could take off sections and replace them. So there were other reasons for breaking it down into those sections.
And it was, I remember it was not just paint, it was relief.
No, it was all
It was a relief.
Like
I looked into the keloid structures, and if you start digging into that structure and you see how the skin is then carved into in reality, and then it heals, that healing process, and how it raises, it's all down to degrees of millimeters.
And you're going to see a wonderful display of that, a full body display downstairs in the lobby later on.
Yes.
So here we've got Nebula, played by Karen Gillian.
Yeah. Nebula, wow. She was a massive challenge because, to be honest, Nebula was the one that took a while to crack in a big way, because there's symmetry there. You've got the symmetry, you have there's a texture to it. It has a real kind of sheen to that makeup. And I wanted it to be as thin as possible. So Karen very kindly shaved her head, which gave us that lovely shape that we had. And also I didn't want it to kind of move and buckle around the neck area, and knowing that she was going to be very physical in this movie. So her neck it's just hers, just paint, and continuing the lineage down into that from the prosthetic. And we have certain kind of elements that we use to get the symmetry by using vac form pieces that are cut out, sort of templates really, which are down in the foyer as well. You'll see where we can airbrush through them and keep that rhythm going all the way through.
Now you had a lot of different hair work on a lot of the characters, but then on a lot of the women you had some very futuristic hairstyles.
Yeah, it gave us a chance to sort of do a lot of more fashion type work as well, which was really exciting to do, because it was kind of gave us a chance to sort of be out there, and like I said, for people to kind of relate to the fact that we were in different galaxies, not just the one. So that kind of gave us a chance to do different coloured aliens, but also we really exaggerated. It was really good fun. It was really good fun.
And you'll see a number of those down in the lobby later on too. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Michael, for coming up and sharing your experience.
Thank you, everybody.
With us. Thank you. And we'll ask the nominees to take their seats. Please welcome for Foxcatcher, Bill Corso. Bill is credited as the makeup department head. This is the 3rd Oscar nomination for Bill. He has 1 Oscar for Lemony Snicket, A Series of Unfortunate Events. Bill recently finished working on Star Wars and will soon be working on Marvel's Deadpool with Ryan Reynolds. Please welcome Dennis Liddiard. Dennis is credited as the key makeup artist. This is the 1st Oscar nomination for Dennis. And Dennis just completed work on Geostorm with Gerard Butler and Jim Sturgis, and will soon be working on Arms and Dudes starring Jonah Hill and Bradley Cooper. Now, Bill and Dennis, I believe that you have 2 special guests.
We do. I think we're lucky enough to have Steve Carell and Channing Tatum. Hi, Chan.
How you doing, Steve?
You were great in this movie.
Well, listen, man, you're the one that got the Oscar nomination, not
Oh,
me.
thanks, dude. Thanks. And these guys were great. It's a great
Yeah.
makeup in this movie.
Fantastic.
I think we did our. To be honest, our trio of actors and our director are being given awards right now in Santa Monica at the Independent Spirit Awards. So that is why they could not be here. But I think we did get one clip that we could show.
Hi, Bill. Sorry I can't be there tonight, but I just wanted you to know that working with you was a fantastic experience. I think that you are a true artist. You are clearly a leader in your field. The time that we spent together, I thought was collaborative, and more importantly, I feel like I gained a really strong friendship. Who am I talking to? Bill Corso. Have I worked with him? Oh, okay, Foxcatcher. He wears turtlenecks a lot. Yes, nice guy. And we're back. I just wanted to say, really has been an honor to work with you. Congratulations on all your success, completely deserving. And in all sincerity, I think you are the best, Bill Corso.
You were really good too. I thought your makeup was the better in the movie. That was very nice.
Okay. You two had a very unique challenge in this, taking John DuPont with Steve Carell, taking Mark Schultz with Channing Tatum, taking David Schultz with Mark Ruffalo. And in so many cases, producers, directors don't want to lose the look of the actor.
Yeah,
but in this case, it was a different situation.
That's a big thing. I mean, you hear on every movie as a makeup artist, whatever you do, don't lose the actor. You always want to see the actor. You want to see the name above the marquee. And this was one of those amazingly rare opportunities when I had a conversation with the director. He said, I can't see, I said to him, I can't picture Steve Carell in this movie when I read the script. And he said, he can't be. Steve Carell cannot be in this movie. John DuPont needs to be in this movie, the character of John DuPont. He goes, I hired Steve because I thought as an actor he's going to bring something interesting to the role, but he cannot be Steve Carell at all. And I said, well, that makes me nervous. I go, anytime we do a makeup on somebody, no matter how good the makeup is, the public, the press is very quick to point out, wow, that's a famous guy covered in prosthetics. And that's nerve-wracking for a makeup artist because you don't want to be responsible for, taking people out of a movie or, not serving the story. So you're always walking a fine line. But Bennett Miller, to his credit, is a phenomenal artist, director, said, that is not your problem. Your problem is to do the best makeup you can, make him a believable character, make him a believable man of great wealth and history. And if I direct it properly, and if Steve acts it properly, then hopefully in about 3 seconds we'll fake the audience into thinking that he's this guy, he's this character, and they won't be looking at Steve Carell. And the other actors, to a lesser degree, said, were the same way. They wanted to honor the real people. This is a true story. So they really wanted to become these guys and to honor their look and legacy.
Well, I think we certainly saw that in this film. Here we've got 3 pictures of Steve Carell that really show the changes that took place here. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what the process was here.
Well, with Steve, it was, when you're told he's got to be unrecognizable, it's like, well, what about Steve makes him recognizable? He's a very recognizable hair, eyebrows. He's a very distinct profile. So how can we change that? So I played around with, DuPont. I used DuPont. Interestingly, Bennett didn't care if he looked anything like the real John DuPont. No one knows what John DuPont looks like. But he looks so unlike Steve Carell. I thought, that's a good enough place to start as any. And DuPont, if you've seen the movie, he refers to himself and did refer to himself as the Golden Eagle. And the irony being he has a very eagle-like profile. So I put a prosthetic changed Steve's nose and profile. And I also incorporated a brow piece that got rid of his eyebrows, which did a lot to take it away from Steve. And it also allowed me to alter the anatomy of his eyes and give him a little age, because we were aging Steve a bit. And then, in studying DuPont, again, DuPont had tiny little teeth. So, and Steve has big movie star teeth. So we gave him a set of dentures with little fake teeth, and we added plumpers to really distort the shape of his mouth, which we kind of did with the other gentleman as well. And then finally, we have we had the great Catherine Gordon as our department head hairstylist, who happens to be here tonight. And Catherine was instrumental in helping, create a look for Steve where we took his hairline back and we grayed his hair out. Actually let a lot of his own hair gray show through, which he doesn't really do. And that all combined with a paint job that was meant to, give the impression of that really translucent blue bloody type look. And then finally, the little thin eyebrows and brown contact lenses. I mean, there's a lot of little things going on, and every little bit, I put a fake lip on them to give them kind of like a softer lip line. All those little details,
But there was also a great deal of painting.
A lot of painting. It's to take, if as a makeup artist, to take someone with a dark, swarthy Mediterranean skin tone and make them pale and translucent is quite the task, and to do it every day for 40 some odd days that matches is a bit of a challenge, and especially when you've got a director, and this was Dennis's and I daily routine, who would just come up like James Gunn may have done and just stare at the makeup and go, it doesn't look real to me, or does that look, I don't know if that looks quite right. So I relied on Dennis to finish Steve's makeup, and we do this with each of the guys and spin them around and say, all right, tell me what's wrong. What doesn't look right? Because when you get on set that the director and the DP are going to be staring at it with a like a lens and make sure that it's going to be perfect. Well,
Dennis, you had a great change on Channing here.
Thank you.
Really such an unusual look, sort of all the way through here. Tell us what you've got going here.
Well, when Bill called me and talked to me about the project and told me that I would be primarily taking care of Chan, and I kind of knew the story from when this first happened, and I remember when the brothers had won gold medals. I started to look at a lot of pictures of wrestlers, a lot of guys that are fighters that live in the world of combat, so to speak. And one thing really jumped out to us when Bill and I would talk about it, and that's that the cartilage in their nose really starts to break down, their noses flatten out, their chins start to really protrude, and their foreheads kind of protrude. So in profile, they just get this really flat profile. So in talking to Bill, we decided to kind of, to try and go after that look, to make it look like our movie stars had grown up in the world of combat, of fighting. So
and half their lives with a face in a mat or somebody's armpit.
Yeah. So we started off. What you'll see is with a nose appliance on Chan to get rid of that real pretty nose he has, to kind of give him a broken nose, and then we also put plumpers up his nose to widen the base of his nose and kind of pull the tip of his nose down. Because keep in mind, with all the makeups on Channing and on Mark, these guys had to go wrestle, and it had to hold up to some pretty intense wrestling. We couldn't tell them to not do stuff in the ring. That just was not going to happen. They couldn't think about the fact that they were in makeup. And then the cauliflower ears as well, which wrestlers are notorious for. And then to pull Chan's, pull his jaw forward a little bit and change his mouth, he wore lower plumpers that pushed the bottom lip out and kind of pulled his jaw forward and helped out. And then interestingly enough with Mark, we had top and lower plumpers made for him, but he only wore the top, which flattened out his nose and his jawline and everything. And then his hairline was shaved well back. As the real guys, and then we painted a broken nose on him and added the cauliflower ears on him.
Ironically, but Ruffalo, I get more people come up to me and saying, there they could see Steve. He's wearing a big makeup, and Channing, and there's something really wrong about Channing. I can't put my finger on it, but had no idea it was Mark Ruffalo. Like, more people are surprised about Ruffalo's change, which is, again, he's a very distinctive-looking guy. He's a ruggishly handsome guy. But by doing the hair thing that we did to him and the beard, and we kind of re-manicured the beard to look more like Dave Schultz. And we had Dave Schultz's family, come and visit the set, and they were, again, no greater, honor to have them say, first of all, they didn't want to go near Steve, because he he looked like and had such a vibe about him. But the fact that, Mark so looked like the dad, the kids, and his wife, it was really, really touching. And I think he even wore the real Dave Schultz's glasses, like to really, really become these guys. And but it is true. I mean, you do these makeups, you do them at such a high level and trying to maintain a realistic, I mean, literally to your eye, try kind of perfection. And then they would go and they would kill each other. I mean, they practiced wrestling for 6 months, and these guys really went at it, and just no holds barred, slapping each other and Channing, beat the hell out of himself in this movie. And the fact that all of those makeups, hold up. I think there was one day in wrestling that we saw an ear fly. Yeah,
it was flying through frame on the monitor. Was that a mouthpiece? No, it was an ear.
And do we see Channing's tattoos? We're covering Channing's tattoos, and there's all these little things that that we don't think about. But imagine doing a portrait painting, that you're going to hang in a gallery, except it's on a moving canvas, and then now you've got to do that exact same portrait painting every day. And I had said to the director, I said, well, look, we've done movies before, we've done these kind of makeups before. It's hard and it's under great scrutiny, but the actor's acting. And the camera's moving, and there's other cameras, and you're cutting around, and it's film. We have a lot of leeway, and
couldn't sell it though, right?
He said, "Well, you haven't seen my movies, have you?" I mean, and I one of the great things about having Dennis with me was Dennis had worked on Moneyball with Bennett Millard, the director, and Bennett's the type of guy that he goes, "No, I like to shoot in big close-ups, and I like to stay on them for a really long time." So, and you'll see in some of the clips, that's brutal for any makeup, and you're, as a makeup artist, you're sitting there going, okay, that's enough. Okay, you can cut now. Act, do something other than your eyes, please.
All right, well, let's take a look at all of this. I want to thank Stephen Channing for being here. And thank you to our nominees.
Our pleasure.
So please welcome all of our Oscar nominees back on stage. Before we start our question and answer portion, I'd like to read remarks made a couple of years ago by Steven Spielberg at the Producers Awards when he received the David O. Selznick Award. No one can succeed alone. An evening like this reminds me that every film and TV show nominated tonight, someone reached out to give their hand. Whether all of us are working together or competing inside this very small creative community, we're always holding somebody's hand. And I'm grateful to feel all of your hands holding mine right now. We're going to get started with a question and answer period here. And in the aisle, there are individuals with microphones. So if you have a question, please raise your hand, and they'll bring the microphone over to you so that everybody can hear your question. And also, if you would please just ask one question. If you have other questions, wait until somebody else has an opportunity so that everybody gets a chance here. All right. Okay, who do we have a question from?
Hello. Question for all of you guys. In doing a movie, obviously, there's other makeups from other films in your specific niche that have been done, sports films and so forth. Wondering if there are any makeups that you looked at and referenced from past movies and creating your own makeups for your films. This is for everybody.
Well, I know for us, we had enough. We didn't really reference movies. We were doing a true story, so we referenced the real people, and then people that were similar to the people that we were characters that we were trying to create in the movie. That was obviously important to us. But I don't know for the rest of you guys.
Definitely with ours we didn't, because it was a completely new universe that we were creating, so we had to start from scratch. And I mean, we did get pictures from the artists at Marvel that kind of had suggestions of what they were requesting, but that was also way before we knew which actors were going to play those parts, so they weren't actually that helpful. But we kind of then built on those once we knew the actor was coming and once we knew what colour they were going to be. So we kind of built it on that kind of situation. And also we had a good chance to sort of really create on our movie, which was really amazing for us, being the creative types.
Yeah, but every time on a movie you have concepts that come in and then you redo things. But when those live casts turn up, that's when it really counts. Because everybody is so individual. Those actors have features that you can accentuate. And that's really what we wait for, is the moment that the casting is locked and we get those live casts.
I referenced for Rafe, just 1930s films in general, looking for that film star look. The one I chose in the end was Adolf Walbrook. I don't think I pronounced that right, but he was just a very famous star, and it just set really well on Rafe's features and his hairstyle and moustache.
Yeah, for us, I think it was just looking at referencing real characters that would age in a similar way to Tilda Swinton for the Madame D character. But, I always look, I remember seeing, the first time I saw The Godfather and looking at that aging makeup that the great Dick Smith did on Marlon Brando and how he created that character. And you see what Marlon Brando really looked like at that time. And that I always have that makeup. It's my favorite makeup of all time. And I always have it in the background of my mind in terms of creating a believable character, creating something that is totally real and sits with the actor and isn't intrusive, but just manages to elevate the performance with the actor.
And real quickly, the one thing you do sometimes is, for our sake, our actors are going to be really wrestling and really beating each other up. So and you do have in the back of your mind, we all, I'm a fan of makeup, so I've read every article and book on makeup, and I have lots of friends, obviously, who do makeup, and I'm sure in the back of my mind there's somebody saying, well, I did a boxing movie and I use these type of makeups that really hold up well. So you do have that, like reference point from a practical standpoint, like, well, I may want to try this because this might hold up better than something else might have. So that does help, I think, to have just a catalog of techniques and ideas. And
we have another question.
Yes, right here. In Guardians of the Galaxy, I was interested in the makeup for Ronan, and what was the thoughts behind that design process?
Well, Ronan actually was one of the illustrations that sort of came to us, and then I kind of researched him a bit more and found that in our film, in the original script, he was going to have to be naked and sort of being born out of this the black pool that you saw here. So that we had to take that into consideration, and we already knew that he would have to be this specific blue, that we then developed this product to sort of make that blue. And then the facial markings were with the monks kind of sending them out to war, so we had to make a product that kind of stayed on the skin as well, and was slightly rubberized in order to sort of give you a texture as well. But that was basically based on the baddie Ronan that's in the comic books, and then we took it a step further, and we ended up doing a whole body makeup and the whole tribal makeup as well, which actually didn't end up in the film. But so it was and the purple eyes were the fact that I felt that he was trying to get this dark blood into his system so that he could become a full god, because he was a demigod. So I kind of felt that obviously the eyes the veins in the eyes and the colour of the eyes would reflect that. So there was all the thoughts behind, how this creature was sort of developed was to do with his galaxy and where he came from, and the type of blood he would have, and the type of I looked at all the spaceships that he lived in, and the ancient writing and everything, and tried to include that in all the makeup.
Another question.
We have a question right here.
Hi, this might be a question for the moderator. I was just wondering, why is hair and makeup the only category that only has 3 movies nominated when all the other categories have at least 5?
A great question. It has been the choice of the members to keep the number at 3. And that comes from sort of a self-preservation, if you will. A lot of times, this year is a great example where there could have been 5. Okay, there have been other years in the past where there were maybe 3 great films, and the fourth and fifth film might have been a little questionable. When the makeup artists are choosing the films, nominating the films, they know the makeup and hairstyling. What can happen sometimes if it goes out to 6,000 members who are voting, who may not be to expertise in makeup and hair, they might be voting for something that they thought was really a great, fun movie and not necessarily picking the best makeup. So therefore, it could happen that of these 5 films, and 3 were really great, or maybe even 4 were really great, and that 5th one was a little iffy, and it could be that the 5th one gets the award. And so we are very, very protective of that, and we want to make sure that we give, every year we give the highest nominated films that we can.
Otherwise known as quality control.
But it's a great question. Another question.
All right, right here.
Hey, this is for the Guardians of the Galaxy people. You created so many races. Do you have any idea how many? And was there ever a point where you said, this isn't enough, or okay, stop, we're getting ahead of ourselves now?
That's a good question, isn't it?
We were asked that earlier, actually.
There are a lot of races. I mean, to be honest, I was concepting new possible aliens literally into the movie itself and clearing them, and they would appear later in the movie. It was an ongoing process.
I did the same.
I just never.
That's why we got those wonderful women with the big hairdos and the beautiful fashion work, because I didn't stop. I just kept pushing it.
It was evolving. It was evolving as the movie continued. It allowed us to introduce these new characters, and also it gave James a chance to find out how the world worked that he had created, and and what he, to enhance that by creating and giving us the opportunity to put new characters in there.
But it was also good that we could actually make creatures that were like that had interbred as well. So if you see some of the 3-tiered mohawks, you see them with David's characters, and then you see them in the prison with my characters too. So that was quite nice to see that.
A cross-pollination of characters, which is kind of cool. I had different kind of colours for people, and they had different kind of prosthetics down their jawlines. Some had them on their foreheads. So there was somewhere to start in a world, and then it just began to cross over and evolve. Yeah.
Another question.
Hi, I have a question for Francis. I wanted to know how you styled Tilda Swinton's wig, how you set and styled it.
I put it on the little wooden sticks every day. That was to get the waves in it originally. Because we only had to cover it for 3 or 4 days, I didn't ever have to have it redressed completely. And Julie Dartnell, who was one of my right-hand men, along with my other artists, Norma Webb and Emma Mash and Heike Merker, they worked on this team where you can never manage it alone. You have to have a helping hand. And then the switches on the top, the 2 separate switches, were also rolled on sticks. And then afterwards, if it ever needed anything extra once it was dressed out, it would be with hot irons, just to put the crisp edge to the wave into it. And the tiny back pieces, you'll see it's all downstairs, were also waved in the same way.
Another question?
Right here.
Congratulations to all the nominees. My question is, you represent 3 different genres in contemporary drama, futuristic adventure, or time period. Which ones do you think is, probably you worked before in different genres in previous movies, but which one do you think requires more research and more challenging?
It is amazing, isn't it, that we have 3 completely different, apple, orange, and a peach. It's and I have no idea how the Academy picks out of that group. I mean, it's really hard. George Clooney once famously said, if everybody put on a Batman costume, then you could maybe judge who is the better actor. And it's hard for us because we are such a varied group. We were researching real people, and trying to make realistic makeups. They were creating an entire world of characters.
Many universes.
How can you compare those two to another? And then, and then what they were doing is, creating a group, a family of amazing looking, characters for a period movie that, it's wonderful about our category and horrific about our category that it's so diverse and complicated. But it's amazing. I think it's amazing that that's why Leonard is so keen on saying that there's 3 winners, because it's so diverse,
We have time for one more question.
We have one right here.
Hi, my question is for the Grand Budapest Hotel. What was the concept behind Agatha's makeup?
That was written in the script by Wes. He described her birthmark, her port wine stain, as looking like the peninsula, the Mexican peninsula. So we didn't have Saoirse until we were starting the film. So I had the map drawn out. I did it on 4 or 5 different sizes. I did 6 or 7 different tones of port wine staining, and then I used a model in England and placed them all, sent it to Wes. He chose his favourite from that, and then Saoirse arrived and we did it and shot on it. It was, but it was definitely in the script.
All right. Be sure and watch the Oscars tomorrow night, ABC, and you'll see how these great winners are able to see who actually takes the statue. And please join us downstairs in the lobby. You'll see wonderful displays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.